Good morning, folks. Hi. I'm so excited to be with you this morning. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes so that everybody can come in who wants to come in. I was here early this morning. It was like 25 past and I'd already turned it all on. So, yeah, I'm definitely ready. So, we're going to do a mix of questions and hot seats today. So, if you think that you want to have your Substack publication showcased and for me to walk through it with you, then be thinking about putting yourself forward and I'll obviously get through as many as I can today. But yeah, it is a frequently asked questions session and ask me anything. So you'll be able to, if there's been something burning and you're thinking about strategy stuff, if you're thinking about how to do something with the tech side of things, if you just want my insight, then we can do that together, which is good. I'm going to leave it just a minute or two more because there are a few more people registered. I knew it would be a nice intimate call, because my American pals can't make it at this time in the morning, but let's see where we get to. Um, I'm just going to check Luma on my phone and make sure everybody's getting in. It's always my worry that people can't find the link. I already had one person this morning saying that they couldn't get in. Okay, so 17 people registered on that. But there's a couple of American names who will definitely be asleep right now, so maybe not. Um, oh, Antonia's coming, Gail's coming in. Good. Catherine's here. Hi, Catherine. You're all right? Hi, Gail. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Antonia. Hi, Lou. Oh, lovely. Oh, it's going to be a lovely intimate call. So nice for me. Normally, I'm like, right, guys, massive energy. I'm like, oh, we'll just have a lovely little chat. Okay, so I will keep an eye on who wants to come in, but like I was saying, I want to do any questions that you guys have got and hot seats. So I know Antonia has some writing to do this morning. So Antonia, if you did want to go first, I'm not putting you on the spot, but if you did want to, so you could go back to your writing, you're so welcome. Let me know. Um, I think you just on mute a bit there, love.
I know
But if
that
you,
would be great. Yeah, I feel really, really nice
yeah.
to see you. And hi, Catherine. Nice to see you.
Oh, it's lovely to see who we all are on Monday working on our Substacks. It's so nice for us. Lovely. And Antonia, I know that you've been feeling some bigger feelings about Substack within your business ecosystem as well. So, like, all thoughts are welcome here, like, all
Mm.
wobbles, all strategic stuff, all kind of stepping outside and coming back in, summer breaks, all the things. So, if there's
Mm.
anything you want to share that I can help with, please let me
Yeah,
know.
thank you. And I just also, I think I just saw your note about, like, what did you say, like, about being a maverick and disrupting your own ecosystem and your own programming. So I was like, oh, maybe that's all I needed. Because to me, I get, I think it feels. I mean, I guess when I came onto Substack, like I was never like, I've never actually had an intention to even like monetize my Substack. It was always
Yeah.
about building my brand. It was always about giving me another chance to sort of like, I guess to be more fully expressed in the kind of marketing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And what I didn't, and I stopped my MailChimp. So I think I must have been on Substack coming up for 2 years and I
Yeah.
didn't have my MailChimp anymore. And then I'm thinking, like, just looking ahead, like I'm writing, I think I've mentioned to you, I'm writing a white paper on like women's visibility in the workplace, professional reputation. And now I'm just thinking, well, how do I get that out like on Substack? Because Substack feels very sort of like, in terms of like segmenting it, etc.
Mm.
And so I guess for me, it's like, what do I need to sort of like export and then sort of like run something, like a kit parallel to it. So I've got a more segmented, um, I guess, way to reach my more corporate-led clients, my more B2B clients. And I just keep Substack as, the creativity bit, the writing piece, the poetry bit.
Yeah.
I just feel a bit like, whoa, there's so much. And there's so
It-
much I want to do.
yeah, and it's all of these different aspects of ourself, isn't it?
Mm.
Which we've spoken about before, because actually, when the corporates come over, they're like, "How beautiful! I'll read some poetry over lunchtime." It's not
Do
like it's
they
like
though?
it's only this and only that.
Do they though? Because I'm also wondering, I've noticed like particularly lately that I think my engagement is still very much in my email. People that are
Hmm.
like, I wrote a piece about future of work about a couple of weeks ago. Literally
Yeah.
looked on Substack, got nothing.
Yeah.
Um, and then my inbox was just spilling over, like with ex-colleagues, like more sort of like sort of like
Mm.
ex-clients that I'd worked with, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, 'cause sometimes I wonder if, And also like I want to be really clear. I want to, sorry, I've had two coffees, can you tell? Um, I really want to speak to my expansive client, not my ideal client anymore as well. Like in my
Expansive
head,
client. I love that. Okay.
yeah. So my sort of ideal client I've always had in my head was like one of my old clients. Like he's like a CEO of an insurance company. But now I'm thinking actually I might need to go a little bit bigger. But then when I do think about Paul, like he's probably my age, but he is just not clicking through to Substack, whereas he might open an email because he's
When
gonna,
when you say email, because you said about MailChimp, are you
yeah.
still sending stuff out via the MailChimp as
No,
well
no,
then?
I
No.
shut down my MailChimp completely. I just didn't have like the 2 years ago. In my head, I said I don't have the capacity for both.
Yeah. So it's a Substack email, but he's not clicking through to
Yeah,
Substack
I think he sees Substack,
publication.
and I
Yeah.
think he sees Substack, and he's not interested in Substack. He's not interested in Instagram. He like he goes onto LinkedIn maybe once every International Women's Day. That's kind of it.
Okay. Okay, cool, cool.
And
And
I
so,
really
yeah.
fond of Paul, by the way, guys.
Yeah. And and I love that terminology around expansive client. And in your mind, you're thinking, all the lovely conversations I have here in Substack are great, but they're not moving the needle in my business. Is that where we're at?
Mm.
hmm hmm And how well do you feel like you know your Substack readers, Substack audience? Do you feel like you know who they are as well as the
Yeah,
people that are commenting? But do you feel
yeah.
like, yeah, when the name
They're my
pops in,
opposite
it's
numbers.
like,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
my opposite numbers. They're people. They're like people. They're sort of other writers, other creative entrepreneurs.
hmm
Probably other multi-hyphenates as well, I would say.
Yeah.
That's yeah, lots of copywriters, lots of a couple of PR people.
Yeah, got you.
Because I haven't really, there's a couple of people that's doing some really exciting stuff, I think, in the startup space, but I just haven't gone there. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm. hmm And what do you think that they get from being in your Substack world? Like, what is in it for them? What's the value piece there?
I think they feel seen. I think they feel
Mm.
like I can't tell you like how many emails I get saying, "Oh my God, this is such perfect timing. It's like you're in my head."
hmm
Going on, like, particularly about, I think, particularly the bits that are about running a business, I think are the parts that, and that's sort of like the reflection on running a business and, um, yeah. And so, like, trying to move on, feeling stuck, all those pieces really resonate.
Okay.
And if I was maybe a business coach, that would be great, but I'm not a business coach
Yeah.
or a life
Ha
coach. Yeah.
has anyone come through your Substack funnel and booked to work with you? Like,
No,
have they discovered you on
no,
Substack
no,
and then
no,
gone, I wonder how I can work with her. I
no,
really want to work with her. What does she do?
no, no.
Mhm.
They
Are
use
they
some
cro
merchant.
are they crossing over into LinkedIn? Are they kind of finding you there and like reading your more brand and PR based stuff there or not?
I haven't seen any data that I've have thought like I've
Yeah,
definitely
that's a
expanded like
person.
network and community, but not buyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So obviously, as an asset, like it's a lovely thing, isn't it? It's all lovely. What a lovely thing. That's so lovely. But you're like, but I also need to build my business.
Mhm.
And that part of your brain that's like, maybe I just need to separate these two things out. That is that intuitive nudge of like, actually, I just really want to speak the truth of this white paper and speak the truth of this impact-based language, and that isn't going to fit on Substack. However, if you did say to them, do you want to come over and read this white paper or do you want to sign up for when it's ready? This will be the way to tell how much crossover there is because we never fully know the nuance of somebody's brain.
Mm,
But it
mm,
does sound like you do need in your ecosystem another space where you can be
mm,
nurturing them and letting them know that this is coming and that you're really excited about working on it. And it's like less so the Substack people, like the Substack people might be chuffed for you, but unless you say, follow along on LinkedIn, I'm going to be sharing more about it there, you're really not going to know if they're interested or
mm,
not because they're like, lovely, lovely. I'm telling you, sent me a lovely email. That was really helpful. That was really
mm,
nice. Like they're not taking moves, are they, outside of it?
mm.
So we don't know yet. Do you have like a reluctance to run a second list for a specific purpose? Does that feel too heavy, too much, too
What
expensive?
it did
Mm,
originally, and I think I've done some work around like capacity and things. So like
hmm
I'm going into different like my son's like just should be going to university in September, and then my daughter's just a year
Oh,
behind him. So just like even from that perspective, there's more flex to it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I do think I have sort of like had a word with myself about what my capacity is for this.
yeah.
And I
hmm
doubt, I could do it. I mean, I would
Mm.
imagine that the Substack would peter out.
Dwindle.
think
Mm.
it would. I just, in terms of like, because, yeah, like, why would I spend time on something that's not like you say, it's a lovely space. Equally, but for me, if I'm going to be spending that time in creativity, I should probably actually just be writing poems
Your
rather than
poems,
having,
aha.
rather than having,
Hmm.
I've got to get 15 new poems to a publisher by October. I should probably be spending my creative time in the arts
Hmm.
rather than almost like the performance of the art that sometimes Substack feels like.
I've got you. Yeah. However, obviously, I'm always going to
Mm,
counteract it.
mm,
That warm audience is a warm audience for your poetry. I know because I have your
yeah.
poetry book and I sat on my sofa and wrote it. And I don't do LinkedIn. I'm not in those
Mm,
spaces where those white papers would find their way to me. I'm on Substack as a
mm,
creative, as a writer, as somebody who
mm,
wants to spend time there. So for me, and that is just one case, but I think it's amazing that you write poetry and I love poetry. I want to read more of it. So it's like that bit of it, maybe it's just about get into a position where you're like, you know what, my Substack is going to be 4 times a year. I'm going to send people what's going on in my world of creative expression and poetry
mm.
and what's happening with publication dates and like my writerly life, because your writerly life isn't going anywhere. Like you're still doing that. But what you're saying is if you want conversate like more the conversation based stuff, that'll be on LinkedIn. And then actually I've got this other wait list over here for when the white paper's ready.
Yeah,
And you're just getting them to kind of segment their interests, if you like.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
there's never any pressure to write more. Obviously, the more you post and the more you put into something, anything, whether it's Instagram or Substack, the more people will find
yeah.
their way into your
And if you
space.
get,
But
yeah.
you're not doing it for that. You're doing it to nurture this lovely audience that you've
Mm,
built.
mm,
But if we just heard from you once a season and you were letting us know how your writing's been going and what's happening with the poetry publication date, well, that's beautiful. We'll stay subscribed, won't we? And then if it, circles back again in 2 years' time and you're like, I really want to write a memoir. Like we're all still there.
yeah,
Like we're all
yeah,
still there as your
yeah,
fans.
yeah. And I have noticed that a couple of the writers who I really, admire, like they are doing less and better almost. Definitely not
Yeah.
comparing myself to her for a second. But I
Hmm.
think she writes, I don't even think she's doing once a month. Even someone
Hmm.
like Joyce Sullivan, I think she's barely doing like once a month.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not content machines, are we? And when we've got this ecosystem of different moving parts and we need to take care of our business that brings the money in, and then we need to take care of
Yeah,
this kind of beautiful creative expression and community
yeah,
as well. Sometimes I think we can just get a bit stuck in like, oh, well, I've said I'm going to do it monthly, so I better do it monthly. It's like nobody minds.
yeah. No, I know. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I just think, like I said, there's this new project that I've been carrying around with me for probably 2 years, and it's only like I've just started doing it in the spring. It should be ready
Yeah.
for publication in October, and then
Hmm.
I'm starting to like, my brain turns to like, well, how am I going to get this into the world? So yeah, and
Yeah.
it's time. It's time.
And that network that you've built through Substack, like if you reached out to like 5 of the people that you admire and that you've been conversing with for 2 years and said,
Mm.
could I come on your podcast or could we do like a collaborative post because
Yeah,
I've got this coming up?
yeah, yeah,
They'd all say yes. Like, so the networking and the
yeah,
community work is really valuable, isn't it? It's not like, oh, I need to just ditch the whole thing. It's just maybe just about pulling back and then realigning what you want out of all of the different systems that you post
yeah,
into.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, just take a little quick look. I'm just going to go on your Substack so everybody can see. And guys, will you put your Substack URLs in the chat so you can all find each other and see what everybody's writing about? Um, I've talked about it before, but when Substack kind of took over all of my brain and I really wanted to do what I was doing on Substack, the vision didn't make space for posting on Instagram, and I was fine with that. I was like, oh, so I'll just delete Instagram then for a fair few months. And like the vision came to life because I gave myself the permission to be like, nobody on Instagram will care. Like, you know what I mean? It's fine. So we can pause one thing, one stream to then put the energy into the vision of the other one. Right, I've got it
Lovely
now.
way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think we're allowed, we're allowed. We can take up space with that. Right. So in terms of this position in Antonia, so I'm a PR
Mm.
and content and brand strategist. So, yes, you are those things for work, but maybe we're going to switch that and we're not going to lead with that. So, we might lead with the poetry, and less about what you do for work. Because if you're saying you don't think clients are coming through this anyway, and you think it's more about the nurture and the reciprocity and the networking, it might be that you lead with what that kind of creative expression is for you, and then put the work that you do after that. So the poet is less of an also and more of a front and center. Like, I'm so excited. I've got this book coming out in October. Like, maybe that's what we're leading with, what's on the
Yeah.
billboard.
Oh, it's a deadline. It's not coming out in October.
Deadline, yeah. So sorry. But you have poetry out already, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we lead with published poet or something like that. Um, yeah. And then I've said this to you before, but I want to see more of you in this. Like, I feel like this is such a gorgeous space to hang out, but I never see you. And it's so lovely to see you. So, in the three things for July,
Yeah.
we could even just in one of them in the top five, just to see you, just so people recognize, yeah, that's Antonia. I've worked with her before, or that's Antonia. Like, I know who she is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And there I am writing a white paper on women's visibility, and I'm just quietly erasing myself from my own Substack.
This is what we do. This
Yeah.
is what we do because it's nice to have that detachment, but also it's hard to put a photo of ourselves front and center. This is why I went and got new photos done recently with my friend because I wanted to make it fun. And all of my photos, I'm a bit like, oh, that's a bit old now. And like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
get in your head about it. And then actually, I was like, if I just go and get some new ones, then I'll just put them out and then it'll be done. Um, yeah, and people want to have a conversation with you. Like you do get really good engagement in the comments. Look at this. Like this is
Yeah.
beautiful. So they want the person, and then once you've positioned yourself, and then you can kind of get that big piece of paper and plan out the next 6 months of the year on Substack and be like, okay, I'll just update my audience. I'm going to be posting a bit less because my focus is here, here, and here. I'm also in a transitionary time because my son's going off to uni, and I want to give myself a bit of space around that. Like people are here for you, not your content.
Mm. Mm.
So I really think that you can do that here. Um, and you could also have a hero post pinned. I've got video tutorials on all of that stuff,
Yeah.
but they
I
work
did
so
have at one
well.
stage. I had one at one stage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I fell out of favor with having one and I locked it all down to membership. And then I had my biggest month of views on Substack and like my lowest lowest month of subscribes because I'd locked it down. Instead of being welcoming and like forward facing, I was like, no, this is a membership. I'm sick of everybody stealing my work because that was what was going on in my brain. And then of course everybody that visited just then scrolled off again. So it is really worth doing if you want people to take action on something that you've got out in the world, to have that front and center hero post where it welcomes them in and it explains what it is that's in it for
Mm.
them.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Mm.
definitely worth doing that.
Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah. So you've got your photo there. I think you could just move that up, love. Just put that further up. And then you could have a little gallery of like what makes up your life. Like, would be sort of whereabouts in the world is she? You might be one with a poetry book, just those
Mm.
visual clues so that people are like, this is a multi-passionate person who, yes, can stand on a stage and speak about PR and branding, but also has a poetry book and also likes walks with, a family, whatever it is, just invite us in a bit more. We
Yeah.
can keep the corporate stuff on LinkedIn and like that's what people expect, but even the personal stuff does well on LinkedIn, doesn't it, these
Yeah, it
days?
does.
So,
Yeah, it does. It does. It does really well. Yeah.
yeah.
It's always, and my mission on LinkedIn is to bring more of this sort of like energy into it anyway. Because,
Mm.
and especially now where you're just like, dude, that's AI. You just
Oh, I know. I
seriously,
know. Stop it now.
if you've got bullet points that are thumbs up, everybody
Yeah.
knows what's going on.
I know, I know. It's
Yeah.
really hard to see as well because I am like a diehard fan of emojis, but I'm so careful now because I'm just
Yeah.
like it's just
Yeah.
how AI spits it out.
Completely.
So what's the
Yeah.
point?
I would
Yeah.
always, I mean, always break things down with ridiculous amount of hearts and like,
Yeah.
the green shoe emoji and what have you. But it
Yeah.
just like, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Yeah. Okay. So how's all that feeling then?
Really good, really good. I
Good.
think that's probably, do you know what? It's probably just like I'm just like thinking I'm gonna have to go and find a new ESP and like get it all like shift. And also, I mean, I can just export this list into back into my
Yeah.
email provider, can't I?
Yeah.
So and people will
Yeah.
fall off. But I just think I've probably just was just ruminating about in my head too much and just needed like to talk to
Mm.
someone. Sorry to waste
Yeah,
everyone's
no,
time.
that's
Like
it.
this
And
is like
we all
real,
grapple with this stuff. Like you're
yeah,
not alone. It is difficult. So when I saw my other email list as a CRM, customer relationship
yeah,
manager, that was the like more bold moment. But up until that point, I was running two lists. Like I definitely was running two lists. I was like, oh, I've got well, three really, because I have my paid newsletter as well. It was just bonkers. And then I was like, this is a place that I speak to my customers. Just it was just a mindset thing. And then
yeah,
Substack obviously is a playground and a membership and can enable me to do, like I said, like be a maverick in my own programming because why not? So
yeah.
I think you just need that space where it's really obvious that you can say, I'm really excited about this white paper. This is what's happening with it. This is where you sign up. And you just give them a little sign up box and off they pop, you
Yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, and also, and yeah, and I think also like I'm trying to just like diversify in terms of what I'm offering as well. Some of my
Mm,
offers, and then again, it's just like, okay, well, how do I best support that? And I've me, I've literally when people say to me funnels, I'm like, "Ugh," sick in my mouth. I'm just like, no, it's at the stage now you need a funnel because I
yeah,
think that in
yeah.
terms of what I want to deliver, things like word of mouth, just yeah, just can't rely on that. I need to put myself back in the driving seat a little bit more.
Yeah, and it gets to feel fun. Like if the word funnel turns you off, like just think about another analogy. Like we have marble run in the house for the kids, and the kids will like build all these complicated little funnels essentially for the marbles to go on different
Yeah.
tracks. And I'm always sort of thinking about that because people will, somebody shouts about your poetry work and then they find you and they're like, oh, she's got a Substack. I love Substack. I'm going to find her.
Yeah,
Or, I'm going
yeah,
to like follow
yeah.
her on Instagram. Like it's just way we sort of let it all
Discovery.
go.
Yeah.
We build it up
Discovery.
and then
Yeah.
we reconfirm all the time. You're here because I talk about X, Y, and Z. And then the rest, we just kind of can let it go a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And
Thank
just
you,
keep
Catherine.
chatting to us about it. Put it in the chat if anything else pops up as you're building it. If you want to ask for recommendations about what people are using, most people seem to be using Kit these
Yeah, I
days,
looked at
but
Kit. They've made it very sexy. They
I
basically just put
know.
James Clear on the cover of it all and just
Yeah, James Clear, and it's like it's a business expense, isn't it? So it's about you just kind of going, right, like this is going to make me money and bring money into my business, so I'm going to invest in that. Whereas Substack will always be a free place for nurture, so that's lovely for us, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, good.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
guys. So then just back to the original format, just to explain again. So you can ask any questions at all. I'm here for you, but also we'll do screen share of your Substack if you want to go through like where you're at, your positioning, your strategy, like similar to how I did with Antonia. I also picked these lovely Oracle cards. Let me show you. So we've got a polar bear, which is for nurture, an otter. I forget what that one's for. Initiations. There he is, lovely otter. And crane, which is for surrender. These are gorgeous out there. I'll take a photo and I'll put them with the replay as well. But I just wanted to give us a way in. Like this is a day of retreats. If you come into the call this afternoon as well, that'll be about value and boundaries and us really kind of holding those because this is the first time in our generation that we're doing this work and it's hard and sometimes it feels impossible. We're like, oh, putting myself out there again is so cringe. Like I just had a voice note go out this morning. I've forgotten I'd schedule it and I was like, it's just weird. Like it's weird work to be doing it. So we've got to hold ourselves steady in it all. So nurture, initiations, and surrender are our words for this call this morning. You're also welcome to ask anything that you'd like to ask. Does anyone want to put their hand up and ask a question about Substack ecosystem stuff, tech stuff? Catherine, yeah, and then Amy, great.
Hello.
Hi, love. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All right, thank you. Yeah,
Um, I mean, I could have like echoed what Antonia just shared. So that was like super, super helpful for me as well.
good.
But um, I really relate to that tension that I'm feeling at the moment
Mm,
between focusing on other bits of my business. So the bits that bring in the money. For me, that's really one-to-one clients. I'm a coach. I work with other writers. um, and kind of building more stuff around there, like group programs and things like that.
hmm
through and but then I love Substack and I love my little community that I'm growing there, and I really enjoy that space and feel frustrated when I can't focus on that. But then I've
Mm.
also got my own creative work. I have got a book coming out in November. I'm also
Yay.
finishing up another book. There's a lot of my own creative work that I want to focus on as well. But bringing it back to Substack, I don't want to let it go. I do want to keep growing that community because I do see it as an integral part of my business. It is part of my funnel. People do
Mm.
find me there, and I have booked one-to-one clients because people have found me on Substack. So
Hmm.
for me, I do feel like it's a valuable space to be. It's kind of where my people are. Um, so I would like to grow, and I'd like to grow the paid subscribers because at the moment I'm not bringing in enough money that way for it to
Mm.
feel sustainable, like for
Hmm.
what I put in
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
Substack.
Yeah.
Um, so it's that classic, I'm sort of in that classic place really of feeling like I'm putting all of
Mm.
this time and effort in and not financially not getting
Hmm.
really much back.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about putting prices up.
Hmm.
Maybe that's a possibility. But I'd just be interested to hear from you what you would do now if you were looking to increase paid subscribers without offering loads more stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what strategy would you use between now and the end of this year
Mm.
to try and increase that paid
Do you
subscriber?
know your paid conversion rate? Does it stay about steady? Have you got the percentage on that or not?
I haven't got the percentage, no.
Yeah, that's all right. It's good. It's good to have that
Mm,
because then you're like, okay, so I'm growing and then I'm converting and then that trajectory should stay the same. Sometimes there are dips in it, if we did special offer coupons, for example, for a year and lots of people leave. So I had that happen in June and then I did another one to get people in. So it can be things like that, but the percentage can be helpful. And then also the percentage in Stripe. So when you log into your Stripe dashboard, it'll say up by however much percentage in cash. And then you feel more assured because sometimes the churn happens, but there's still a really high percentage increase on the money. So those are the two statistics that I look at to know about like where I am and like where things are, because the dashboard just makes you depressed. You're just like, oh my God's sake. Gotta get it green again, gotta get it all green again. It's just wild. It just messes with your brain. Um, do you know how many paid subscribers you've got, Catherine, and like what that equals in terms of monthly money or annual
yeah.
money? Which way do you look at it?
Hang on, I've just got it here.
Oh,
Um,
good.
so at the moment, I've got 59. So it
Yeah.
hovers around 60 paid subscribers.
Yeah. Amazing.
I've got 1,200 subscribers.
Yeah.
And what was it you said? My so what was
Uh,
the
yeah, the income that you're being paid monthly or the income that you're being paid annually for that, because you were saying it doesn't feel enough, like you don't feel like that's enough money.
so well the gross annualized revenue
Mm,
is 5,179
yeah.
dollars.
Dollars, yeah. And then when we go on to Stripe, it's like 3 grand or something like
Yeah,
that, isn't
something
it?
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Three and a half or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And so sometimes it's a mindset shift. So if, for example, because I think I'm right in saying that yours could build higher volume, couldn't it? Like you could have more people. It wouldn't impact the amount of work that you had to do. So you could build higher volume on that. So if we were off platform, writing ebooks and selling ebooks, and eventually those ebooks brought in our one-to-one customers, and that was our business model, it was ebooks and one-to-ones, then it's like, okay, but if we sell however many ebooks and people start converting faster to one-to-ones, we're only one person, so we can only deliver however many one-to-ones. So the business model doesn't quite work. And this is where I think we need more in the middle, where people have been nurtured, they've had a lovely time in the paid membership, they might stay 1 year, 2 years, they might stay 3 years, but then they're going to be looking for like, I just want something else. Like, what else is there? So if they've had their one-to-one, maybe they book another one-to-one. I don't know how often yours go for, but they definitely might want that bit in the middle. So that would be like the mid-ticket priced thing. So if the Substack was the cheapest and the one-to-ones were the most expensive, for example, then it's that bit in the middle, isn't it, of what we bring people into to feel like it's all okay that the Substack low ticket. Because the Substack will be low ticket. Like I've seen people try it every which way, and especially in the arts and the creative industries, there is just a weird ceiling. Like people are like, well, I don't want to sign up to a really expensive subscription. Whereas in business, people don't mind how much the subscription is if it's going to get them the results that they want. So that's the difference between the sort of touchy-feely, I'm going to hold you in transformation, but you're still working on if you value that or not, versus like, I'm going to hold you in business and you're going to make more money, so it's all worth it. Does that make sense?
It does make a lot of sense. And I have started thinking exactly that actually, that I
Mm,
need something in the middle
hmm.
that's, yeah, that kind of fills that gap between the very low ticket and the high ticket. And also what you just said about, because of where my customers are coming from, they're just people who want to
Yeah.
write books. You
Yeah.
know, there is a kind of cap, there is a limit as to how much it's reasonable to expect people to pay. So
Mm.
um yeah, that resonates.
What are you doing with your founding member tier? Anything yet or not?
Yeah, I do have a founding member tier where they get a one-to-one with me. It's at 180 at the moment. And
Hmm.
I have a few
Okay.
founders. They're mostly sort of people that I already know, people who sort of are doing it to support me.
Oh, that's very sweet. Yeah, so you've got that kind of like nurture Patreon fandom model
Yeah,
there where
yeah.
people are like, okay, okay. I mean, that is interesting, isn't it? It's always interesting that that exists in our ecosystem because essentially, if that was like 1 in 25 people that were like, I just want to support Catherine, that's a beautiful thing.
Mm,
However, it does like just it takes the control out of where you're at with it, doesn't it? Because you're like, oh, well, it could, I could win the lottery. However, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a funny one, isn't it? Like
yeah.
the positioning of all of that stuff. And anything can happen, books can be bestsellers, books can go re-viral again. Like my friend Kate Flanders just had her book go viral again after like, oh, I don't know, I think it's been out like 9 years or something like that. Like so much is possible. And sometimes we tell ourselves this, and I just want to speak to this for a minute. So, like, I might say to myself, oh, no one's going to pay for like two one-to-ones in a month because I give them so much value in the one-to-one and I support them X, Y, and Z. But I have an entrepreneur at the minute that just wants to work one to one. So, like, he's practically booking in every week. So, I would have said that. And that's like a self-limiting belief because you never know until you meet the person that values sitting one to one with you on a call. So, again, with what you're able to help people with on the one to ones, that's a beautiful thing and it's really valuable. So, if people have the money to invest and they want to get their book to market, they're not thinking, oh, well, my book will only make X amount. They're thinking, I want to be really proud of this piece of work and Catherine can help.
Mm,
So you could do some repositioning of your own language there as well. I think that one-to-ones in the founding member tier aren't the best use of the founding member tier because we can do so much with it. So you might want to think about whether maybe for next year, could be for this year, you could do something that is like two pop-ups in your founding member tier where they get some sort of writing immersion or writing retreat and they have to pay up front, but they get that for the year and see if you can work out whether that's worth your while doing. You wouldn't then have to have any other sort of system to run that through. So that's why I'm suggesting that it might be good to look at because it's quite high profit if you do it through Substack. It's just obviously the 10% that they get and then the Stripe fees. But I would be planning for now what you could pivot away from and move one-to-ones out of there.
mm.
Um, just because there's another opportunity for them to have that within your offer system anyway. So I don't necessarily think that we'll have to run it through Substack. We can if it feels easy, but what do you think? This is
Yeah,
nice.
I kind of just, I did that right at the beginning, set up the
Yeah,
founder.
same. I did that.
Didn't give
Yeah.
it much thought and I've just kind of left it. So for those people who are founder members now, if I was to change my offer for
Mm.
founders, how does that impact the people that are already paying?
So you'd have to deliver the one-to-one because you said you were going
Yeah.
to, but it's just one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just one. It's easy.
It's
Yeah.
just one. So then when, I don't know when your renewal dates start kicking in,
Yeah.
whether you did a big push towards them, but
Yeah,
when it's getting towards, sorry?
it'd be around springtime, kind of April
Great.
when I
Yeah. And so you could use January or you could use springtime and say, and this year, this is what we're doing. I mean,
okay.
you could use both of those markers, couldn't you? Because if you were starting to talk about it in January, you'd get people in for the whole year. You
Yeah.
deliver the springtime one, and then you do another one in the autumn. And make it really specific, like one is an immersion to get your book mapped out or something, and another is to like honor the muse in your creative writing or something. You could have something so it was like, oh, I want both of those. It's not like a repeated thing. It's like, oh, that's going to speak to both sides of my creative expression, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And then it's building the page. So I talk about this a lot. So we can build pages on Substack. So you would be building the page in the background to be like, this is my small group program and this is what it's all about. All you have to do is upgrade to, and then you can give it a name. You can change it from founding membership. So you can give it a name. And then you speak to the people who are already subscribed by sending them a direct mail and say, just so you know, I'm phasing out the one-to-one offer. So like get yours booked in and then next year this is what's coming.
Mm, great.
The earlier you can give people notice, the better, because in January, people are in a really good place of like reframe for the whole year ahead and like treating themselves to like the containers that they want. But we do have a few offers in front of us at that time. So the more nurture you can give them this year, the better, I think.
Great. Thank you.
And then this is lovely. Welcome, come on in, make yourself at home. This is like a model hero post here, Catherine. Look, it's all perfectly aligned. It's so hard to do to get the photo to work well, and it just looks lovely. Everything need to know about the inkwell, confirming that it's called the inkwell up here. And then we've got the most popular. Obviously, people are nosy and want to click those. We've got a couple that aren't paywalled. That's great. Um, Beautiful photos of you. Inkwell workshops, yeah.
Yeah, it's all my replays and stuff in there.
Yeah, yeah. And then so the other thing that I've talked about a lot before is in the first year of Sparkle, it was like a race to the vision to get all of the A to Z up like to date so that if anyone new came, it wasn't like me having to message with everybody and making sure they were okay. It's like here's the A to Z guys. And also here, if you're brand new to Substack, here's a tutorial. So sometimes people do need different navigation. So you could have a little conversation with ChatGPT and say, this is the type of person that tends to come to me. This is all the resources I've got for them. Can you build a couple of journeys out so that you can then use that in your sales language when you're trying to convert paid members? You can have journey one and you can catch all these replays, and that's going to deepen your creative practice in X, Y, and Z with your writing. Or you can take journey two. And don't miss, we've got these things coming up live as well. So people know that they can have that kind of choose your own adventure experience here as well.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Oh, full of those this morning, apparently. I've also had two coffees like Antonia, so that's probably why. Great. Okay. Thank you so much. Is Amy still here? Yes, there she is. Hi, Amy. How are you doing, love? Yes, you're here.
Hiya,
I love your friend
yeah.
Amy. She's here. Hi.
I didn't actually have my hand up, but I will
Did you
just.
not?
No, I didn't, but I'll just have a little chat if
Oh,
that's all right.
I was like, Amy's put her hand up. That's nice. Do you know it's when the Zoom screen jumps and like I must have just gone, Amy's put her hand up in my brain. So anyway, do you want to ask anything? Or are you
Yeah,
good?
I mean, I'm really fresh. I'm basically like 2 weeks in to
Hmm. Well
starting.
done.
So I've got a couple of quick questions. Basically, I'm starting to use my kids' names and photos in my posts. So I'm
Hmm.
sort of feeling like I want a paywall just to have that level of protection. But I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, is that actually going to hinder people, buying in and actually stop my growth? Have you got any insight into that?
Yeah, I think with the vulnerability side of when we're sharing any personal details, we want to take it right back. So like I would use like just L and L usually, like or
Yeah,
L and LJ on anything public. And
yeah,
then when I did speak about Luna, like I would say Luna on the call with you guys, but when I did speak about her in the book, like it felt like, well, that's a time limited thing. Like there'll be 100 copies of the book and then that'll be the end of it. So I
yeah.
think anything digital, it just does make you feel better. Just being like, okay, it'll just be backs of heads and all of that, and then
Yeah,
just the
I've done
first
that so
letter.
far. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so the pull to share more, is that to try and invite people in more? Is that the,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so because I'm just showing up like in my most personal self on Substack. Whereas with
Mm.
Instagram, it's all very much like work and career focused.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why. So I have just used sort of not their faces and stuff like that. But it's yeah, I'm
Yeah.
right about motherhood, so it would feel weird not to like
Yeah.
go
Not to
into this
invite
stuff.
people in.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, one of the things, and you'll love this as an artist anyway, is that you can set up shots where it's their hands. So you can tell a lot
yeah,
by like the size of hands because we as mothers
yeah,
are obviously always looking at that. Like we're always looking in on that. So
yeah,
hands can be gorgeous and then like different activities and things like that and invite us in. And then you as the mother. So rather than showing them as your relationship to what you see, it's more
yeah,
like you as the mother and then their hands and try and set things up
yeah,
that way with a tripod. And then once you get a whole range of photos and you're like, okay, these are the photos, then it's that bit, isn't it, of like, okay, it's a juxtaposition of me as a mother and them and what I see, but also I'm still being inviting because
mhm,
they don't need to see faces. Like we're so
mhm,
used to it now, aren't we, where we don't
yeah,
see kids' faces. So there's so many clever ways with it. So just maybe batch a load of photos out so that you've got
yeah.
them.
Yeah. The other question I had was about growth. Like I'm not looking to go viral in the slightest, but I would like to think that I can start build an audience. So
Yeah.
is there like a point where like the amount of views should translate into subscribers? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it 1,000 views, you might get one subscriber, or like I think I just want to know like when I need to change tack if it's not
Where you
working.
putting your energy in. And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think for you, one of the most beautiful things that you could do is just be in conversation with other mothers on Substack. So there tends to be
Mhm.
within the motherhood crowd, there tends to be like a lovely set of conversations going on in the comments of people's posts. And so
Yeah,
that could be just a really nice place for you to
yeah,
hang out, and you're probably going to get people come straight over. Once you've set yours up properly, I don't know where you're at with the setup, but once people see what you're about and that you're a
yeah,
creative mum and you're based in London and this is your reason for writing, other
yeah.
mothers will just subscribe because it's like, oh, well, I
Okay.
need more of that. Like, I need the
Yeah.
tribe. So I think that, and then collaborations as well. So there's a couple of people like Lindsay Calder does collaborations. She's an interiors PR, so she would be a lovely
Oh,
contact for you. She allows people to guest post for her. So
okay.
doing things like that for me in the first year, I did one a month, and it always brought over between 20 and 50 subscribers, but they were the right
Yeah,
fit people because they'd just read my post rather than finding me on notes and then being like, oh yeah, I think I want to subscribe, I'm not sure.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when you're first starting, it's good to do that. You could
Mhm.
also write to your current mailing list and say, I've started this publication over here. You want to keep
Mm.
it totally separate.
Yeah. Do you know what? I would really like to avoid sort of going on Instagram and trying to get Instagram people over because I kind of want this
Cross-pollinating.
to be a clean slate.
Yeah, got you.
So
Yeah, no,
I,
that's
I don't know
fine.
if that's shooting myself in the foot though. What do you think?
It's just the nuance. Like we
Yeah.
want to tell ourselves it's clean, we're starting again. But a
Mm.
person, a reader, like if we weren't still chatting and we hadn't seen each other for years or whatever, and then I like didn't know, and then I was like, oh, I wish I'd known, like look at all this amazing stuff. So
Oh, I
you've always
suppose,
got
yeah.
to imagine it as your most enthusiastic reader, like
Yeah.
your biggest cheerleader, someone who really gets you and likes to read
Yeah.
what you're about. So even though it can feel a bit like, oh, I don't want to, like, you've just sort of got to go into that a bit because it's of
Yeah.
service. Like, it's of service for me, for you to tell me, oh, look, and now I'm doing this. And I'll be
Mhm.
like, that is so
Yeah.
nice. I'm so glad. And actually, like, there's
Yeah.
this person over here who I think will like to read it. So I
Yeah.
always talk about the 10 people that then tell 10 more people because
Yeah.
the depth of that is more important than just random subscribers from Substack
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah.
So if you have people in your network, are you doing like early years, sort of artsy experiences? What's your new
Do
crack with
you want
it?
to have a do you want to have a quick look?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
Put it in the chat and then I can just click straight in, or is it
right.
already in?
It's already in. It's
Oh,
if you
I'll
scroll down a
scroll.
little
Hang
bit.
on.
Okay.
Here it is, 2 weeks in. Right.
Oh, this is scary.
Oh, wow, you've done loads. Right, let me share.
Well,
Yeah, I have.
I've
Amy's
just
such a
started to get
perfectionist, by the way, guys. She's amazing, but like honestly, she
no,
doesn't let things
it's
be
it's really
scrappy. They're
good.
always gorgeous. Right, here we go. Spray it gold. Well, I love that. Multidisciplinary artist, business owner, and mama of two, trying to work out how to dance with it all, chatting about creativity, business flow, and how to not be a starving artist. Love that. Art projects and workshops to do at home. Geordie and SE London. Perfect. What a really strong intro. And then you've got some of your photos to do with previous projects you've done, a beautiful welcome, stuff to do at home. Love it. Gorgeous. Yeah, this is really good. How do you feel
Okay.
about it now that I've flashed it up in front of everybody?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's such a like being used to Instagram for like 12 years, it just feels really different. But I actually
Mm,
way prefer this after a couple of weeks. So I'm just gonna keep
yeah,
going and see what happens.
yeah, keep
Yeah.
going. And then the invitations and chats and stuff on notes, I'll tag you on a couple of
Mm.
motherhood threads when I see them. And if anybody else sees that sort of stuff as well, like please make Amy feel part of the party because it can just feel really overwhelming. You want to try
Mm.
and train the notes algorithm as well. So mute anything you're not interested in. And then
Right.
every time it's something artsy, just give it a like, just because then
Okay.
you train the algorithm and then you just have a
Yeah.
lovely time. There's
Okay.
also a parenting category on Substack. And lots of mothers write under that category, even though they don't write about parenting because there isn't another
Right.
fit. So they've put themselves in the parent category. So if you scroll the parenting category, you might find some other people that you want to subscribe to.
Yeah.
It's really good to be a generous reader if you've got time. So again, when I decided to ditch Instagram, I was just reading loads of Substacks on my phone. When I should have been like getting my kids to bed, when you're like, well, I'll just read this first, then I will. So I was like in that space. And then obviously you build up a picture far quicker of who somebody is because of that long form writing that's being
Mm.
shared. So that can be really nice as well if you've got headspace to be a generous reader.
Mhm.
That would be lovely. And you've
Yeah.
got your start here as well. Beautiful. So from the Spray It Gold as well, you'll have so many different jumping off points, in terms of your use of gold spray paint. Like you could tell like
Mhm.
the story of when you sprayed a jacket and stuff for your wedding.
Yeah.
Like there's so
Yeah.
many things and storytelling does really well on Substack. So you
Mhm.
could try and do something like that where you're like, oh, it feels a bit vulnerable to tell this story, but this is kind of the through
I've started
line.
drafting that story
Yeah,
already.
have you?
Yeah.
That's it. People love it. People are
Yeah.
like, what a cool thing to do. So if you land them straight in the story, and if
Mm.
you want to get geeky about storytelling classes, I'm sure there's people on the call that could recommend people that do that sort of thing. I'm definitely geeky about storytelling classes because I've realized that's what people want. Like they want to be
Mhm.
soothed. They want to follow a story from beginning to end, less of the
Mhm.
clickbait in the news and more of the like, that was a beautiful story. I feel like I might have a nap now, is what we're going for.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Thank
well
you.
done. This looks really good. What you got on here? Nice. So some brain dumpy stuff.
Hmm.
Gorgeous. Are you done these as sections or tags?
They're tags.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
That works well. Great. So organized. Lovely.
You know me.
And then with the paywalling, just to kind of go back to that,
Yeah.
it's tricky because when you're trying to nurture and grow an audience, you want to kind of keep everything paywall free just because of the way it works
Mm.
with Substack. If people sort of encounter the paywall, it makes them feel a bit uninvited. And then we want to be positioning the offer when we've got the offer from a sales email where it's like, I've made this for you. I'm so excited. When you pay, you get this, this, and the other, rather than positioning our writing to hope people trip over into the paywall because it just is happening less and less. People are like, we'll just click off and read something else. So
Yeah.
think about what the offer is. Obviously, it's low ticket via Substack. It makes the most sense, especially because they take 10%. And then think about what that sales offer positioning is and send that email from your subscriber tab. There'll be a video in the A to Z on how to do that, but that's what to do.
Okay. Fab. Thank
Good.
you.
Okay, you're welcome. Right. Who else have we got hands up? We've got Iris and we've got Evelyn. Iris, would you like to go? Is she there? She's frozen,
Yeah,
but oh, she is there. Good. Hi, love.
I mean, my connection is dropping.
Oh, that's okay. Well, should we give it a go? And then if it drops, we'll come back to you. Um, oh, she might have. Oh, no, here it's come back. It's come back, I think.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry, love. I think we might be okay. Should we try?
I think, yeah, let's give it a try. I'm sorry, it's
Mm-hmm.
my internet connection. I'm gonna keep trying. So the question that I've been having for a while, and it may be a silly one, but I'm gonna ask.
Oh, it's gone off. Iris, if you can hear me, you might want to put it in the chat. I'm going to switch to Evelyn and then we'll try and come back to you. So if you can hear me, try and put it in the chat, love. Evelyn, do you want to go?
Yes,
Here
hi.
she is, my tapping queen, EFT extraordinaire. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good.
So what my question is first I have to say one thing is that everything that I do is always a lot and I always make it really complicated. So
Okay.
I'm trying to make it my business more
Simple.
simple. But what's
Mm-hmm.
happening now on Substack, I am Dutch, so most of my everything that I do now is in Dutch because I choose with my business to go for Dutch because there are a lot of English people who do mindset, EFT, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a decision, and but now I noticed on Substack that I have a lot of getting English followers.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm thinking about what I did is what you said. Like I made a like if you're English, you can click on the Google Translate. So that's also
Mm-hmm.
in it. But now I'm doubting maybe I should mix it up, make it Dutch English.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, but also maybe I'm making it a bit complicated again for myself. So
Yeah.
with where I am and maybe half. Okay, the thing is that all the EFT meditations that I make are in Dutch. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a library of that and creating it in English, I can do it, but I have other things now that are more important. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
bit like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose, again, like thinking about the funnel and where people are at with you because they'll book to work with you, won't they? That's how it
I
works.
hope so.
Yeah. And so when they've had a tapping experience in Dutch, then the line would be they would follow through and then they would book to do like group stuff with you or one-to-one stuff. How does that bit work?
Well, I have to say at the moment that my business is almost dead. It ended last
You're building it up again.
December, and I'm now re-changing it and focusing on creative. So what I have now is a group of creative professionals
Yeah,
that stopped, and I have a few one-on-one. It's business and EFT mindsets.
yeah.
So it depends a bit, but I'm also a bit at the point that everything is rearranging, getting rid of
Mm,
stuff and organizing it again. And what I like to do is and group things like
mm.
accountability, mindsets, business for creatives, and also one-on-one. Uh, yeah, it's the same, but then more intensive.
Yeah. And so this is a massive opportunity for you because the majority of people on Substack are English speakers, right? So it was born in America. There was loads and loads of Americans on, like there was very few English people on there when I joined in 2022. And now obviously with all the partnership development that they've done, there is more happening in Europe. So it's great, that you've got the Dutch library. But I think if you do have a vision for the English speaking library, that could be really helpful to try and get people into your well because your English is so brilliant. So if you do want to work and be multilingual in the way that you work, it makes sense to have a shop that is 100% welcoming to the English speakers. And now that could be a small shop, right? So it could just be, I've made a workshop. In this workshop, it's beginners EFT for mindset, and it will help with your writing confidence, it'll help with your creative confidence, it'll help with imposter syndrome. So that's the simple bit. So instead of trying to give them the whole library in English that you already have in Dutch, you get really specific about what the offer is and who it's for. English speakers who need to work on confidence when it comes to their writing, for example,
Yeah.
and then you lead them in that way. And then it's one workshop, not a whole library. It's just that one workshop that we're selling.
Yeah, I have the masterclass I made for Leonie Dawson
Yes.
about creating a new identity to
Mm,
become successful. So I have that. So if I would create small things, and I don't mind doing live things.
yeah.
But then my question is, should I just mix it up on my Substack, do both English and because for most Dutch people it's not a problem to read in English, but they really like it that I am in Dutch because in some ways it's easy
Yeah.
to express, and I have a big network in Dutch creative because I worked for a long time as a teacher in art
Yeah.
school, and so yeah.
Yeah, so Laura Durbin, who I've worked with quite a bit, she's in Diamonds as well. She does English and German on her Substack. So we had some long conversations about how she was going to position that. And she actually does just post them both out. What you can do is organize in the subscriber tab by country. So you could, for example, create the resources in Dutch, post them to your Substack, but not email them out. Then email the Dutch subscribers and be like, here's 4 new resources that I've made for you this month. And the same with English. So it's just a different way of looking at it. So rather than thinking about, I'm going to make a post and post it in Dutch, or I'm going to make a post and post it in English, you might want to think about, I'm going to make a post and post it without emailing and then email the people by country. So I'll
Mm.
show you how to do that just so everybody's got it. But you can basically see your subscriber map and see where people are. So sometimes I'll send American only offers because the majority of my audience is in America. So I'll be like, okay, like I'm going to send this out to people. When I was going to New Orleans, I wrote to them all in America and I was like, I'm coming to New Orleans. Does anyone want to meet up for coffee? So
Yeah.
it's like that can be helpful. And maybe that's just a bit of a shift. And then the vision on the English side of things builds over time rather than you thinking, oh, I've got to do it all in English now. You don't. You've just got to hold the people towards the English vision of it all. Dave's just bringing me a cup of tea. All
Nice.
right. All right. Is it? Yeah. Is that what's going on? We've got a bit of building work outside today, guys.
We
It'll be
don't hear anything.
fine. It'll all be fine. Right. Let me just see. Right. Okay. So I'll do mine and then we'll pop over to yours as well. So obviously this is quite a quiet space and that's purposeful because I'm just trying to manage all the energy of the internet and this is a bit of a quiet space at the minute for this year. But when I go into the dashboard, if I go into stats, and then we want to be in audience, here we go.
Yeah.
So you can see a global map and you can do it, see what's going on. I just do all time for this. And then you can see your percentage of where people are at. So can you see that, Evelyn? Like where on
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah,
And
I checked it already before.
how many have you got in each place?
Yeah, at the moment I took my list and put them in myself. So at the moment the most are Dutch.
Yeah,
But now the people who are getting from Substack,
yeah.
they are most of them English. I think it's also because of to do of our call probably.
Yeah, people popping on over. So you
Yeah.
want to make the most out of that. Like if you put a workshop on in a month's time that followed on from the live that we did, and that was like the purpose of that is for you to be properly paid as a practitioner, and people can be like, oh, that's great. That's the next thing. That's the bit of selling in service. It's like that's in service to those people, and then the replay ends up in the English speaking part of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then in subscribers, so on here, you can go filter, um, subscriber country,
Ah.
and then you need the code. So what would it be for Netherlands? Is it N E?
NL.
NL.
I think so. I don't know if it's
Yeah, look, it works. There we
okay,
go.
yeah, I am.
So it's telling me that I've got 33 people in the Netherlands. Isn't that lovely for me? I
Yeah.
just love that they're all there. Hi, everyone. I just love that we can do that. And then what you would do is click that to select them all. And then it says here, send email. And so you would just press send email. And then this is going to send just those people an email updating them about, okay, guys, like I've posted a new few trainings inside of the Substack publication. And then when you write into English people, you could do the same. And you can just try that for a bit, Evelyn, and see what you think of that, you know. So you might do that for a little bit, and that might slowly start for you to feel a bit more settled and a bit less complicated. And you might have that kind of those two routes that just kind of feel a bit more obvious if you do it that way.
Yeah, so it's more a bit about playing and seeing what's happening. Because I
Yeah.
also know that some people who are Dutch, they live abroad and they also follow me, but then
Yeah.
they don't get
Yeah.
email.
Yeah.
I can also, of course, in every email, click like if you're Dutch, click here. If you're English, click here.
Yeah, you can send them in the different directions. And then, yeah, if you have a look at Laura Durbin's and what
Yeah, I
she's
will.
done, she's wonderful, but I'm pretty sure that she decided she was just going to post in both German and English because it doesn't offend anyone. So this is the other thing. Sometimes it can be really offensive and people are like, oh, you know, other times people are like, that's great. That's so helpful. And actually, I fancy reading in English today, or, you know, I fancy being like reading in my mother tongue today. Like, so she did it that way around. But you could also chat to her. She's very lovely and approachable. She's just had a new little baby, so I know she's on mat leave, but you could drop her a little DM and say, like, I was just chatting to Claire about all of this. Like, how have you found it? What have you learned from it all? Don't be afraid to ask, like, how people are doing it because it
Yeah.
is hard. It is difficult to work out. But just put the readers at the center. So you've got me, your English person, and then you've got your Dutch person that has followed you for a long time in your career, and you're taking us on two journeys.
Yeah.
I'm your beginner who's never done EFT, and that was like the first time on the call, other than like a couple of little bits I did on YouTube. But you know, it's like take me on that journey, like show me the things, and then I'll be like, oh, great, I'll buy the things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and also because I have already in my Dutch writing a lot of English because sometimes it's just cooler to say it in English.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know for the Dutch people probably it isn't a problem if I do a little bit, but they need
Mm.
me also with the okay, yeah, I just
And I think for the audio as well, they probably have a preference, don't they, for it to be in Dutch, and we would need it to be in English because we would be completely lost.
yes.
Mm.
Yeah, well, it depends a bit. It depends a bit, but I can also I'm sending out a survey now about what I'm creating for the creative professionals.
Hmm.
And I always have in that survey that they can win in a one-on-one call, but then I use it just to like kind of like a sales call
Yeah.
to get some more information. So it's good because I can really ask them also those questions like, would you mind if it's half in English and
Yeah, exactly. See what they say about
yeah,
that. And, you know, like, and it was, you know, a huge thing to go live on Substack last week, and it was brilliant. And one of the things that it reminded me of was when I was embarrassed about my accent, and your English is amazing, and your accent is also super cool. So I want you to celebrate that in yourself, you know, like there's nothing to be shy or embarrassed about. It's brilliant that you're doing this work and able to bring it to us in English in a way that we can understand it and also be held with an international accent. Like that just feels really nice. So yeah.
yeah, it was the when you asked me to do it the first thing I said to you like a lot of my writing is helped by ChatGPT and I was like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah. Yeah,
speak
but
like I
that'll
write.
just be so that you're reassured. Like you
Yeah,
can converse
yeah.
brilliantly in English. You can lead tapping classes brilliantly in English, and that's a beautiful thing. And people will choose to learn from you, even though there are other practitioners. Like that's just what will
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I believe in Dutch, that it's because of me. And yeah, okay, thank you. So
You be
I'm
a
just gonna
conduit for
try
all
things
that
out.
gorgeous energy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, shall we try Iris again? If anyone
Yes.
needs to go, obviously feel free to pop off. The replay will be posted. Let's try again, Iris. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you for your patience.
You're welcome. It's fine.
I hope the connection is more stable now. So the question that I've been having for a while now, because I have no clue on it whatsoever, is how do collaborations on Substack work? And I'm
Mhm.
assuming, but maybe that's a totally wrong assumption, that there's a huge difference between finding somebody like what you said in a similar category. I start connecting with like-minded people, and I like their publication, and I go like, ooh, I feel a resonance there. Could we maybe do an exchange? And then I'm assuming it would look like, hey, would you mind popping on a live call that I want to do for my audience, or would you like to write a piece in a newsletter I'd like to do, and I will return the favor for you. That
Mhm.
seems logical, but is it so, or does it work differently, where it's really where we pay each other?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
especially as long as it's, how shall I put it, in the same level, I see that there's a mutual interest. But if I would like to approach somebody who clearly has more experience or who already has not necessarily experience, because I have in my work department a lot of experience, but I'm new here on Substack, so I don't have a following whatsoever. So if I would reach out to somebody who has a huge following, I don't see where their interest potentially would be in joining, doing something for me and me returning the exchange, or is that my self-sabotage voice speaking now? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I guess I really want to know because I don't want to offend anybody and I reach
Mhm.
out and then be, come across silly. And I also want to know which investments because I have little money now to
Mhm.
invest, and I
Mhm.
would like to know how that works. Could you
Mhm.
shed a little bit of light on
Of course, yeah. And we've got a call coming up about this in the membership. So, and it's so interesting, isn't it? Because if no one's ever spoken about it, then how would you know? So there's never any payment. So it's not about payment. It's about reciprocity and mutual exchange. So that can be a collaboration on a live, can be post swaps, can be you post for them because they want you to talk on a specific topic and you'd be the expert in that. When you get into media off Substack, then there can be payment attached. So if it's magazine or print, you can be paid to write for certain publications and that sort of thing. Some really high earning Substackers do pay people to guest post for them. So Emma Gannon does it, Farah Store does it. So they'll open and say, if anybody wants to guest post, send me a pitch. And so that is time consuming for sure to make sure the pitch is like a good fit for their readership and their audience. And then also time consuming because you want to make it like as good as it can be and hopefully be chosen. But they do get a lot, like they get flooded with pitches. So that would be like the payment bit of it. But usually collaborations come from a place of shared interest and kind of mutual support. So whenever I've collabed with anyone on Sparkle, it's been because there was just a really good fit. And it actually is really helpful for me to collab because it can feel really intense to hold everything myself. And then when someone collabs, it's like a breath of fresh air. So I did one where I interviewed Selena Barker last year when she was launching her journal. I was genuinely just interested in her journal and she needed PR around it. And I was like, do you want a guest for the Sparklers? It'd be great for me. I love what you do. I love that you're here on Substack. She's also a diamond member, so it's like beautiful, and it's like people loved that article. And then I did one with Joe about accessibility because we were having a conversation in the DMs about the missed opportunities to be accessible, more accessible on our Substacks and our own kind of self-limiting beliefs about using audio and stuff like that. So it took ages to do. But we weren't in a rush. We were like, this is a beautiful act of service. We'll gather everything together. We'll work on the draft together. We'll put it out together. And then Joe cross-posted it to her audience as well. So you can do it where it gets published on one and then the other person presses cross-post and sends it out to their list, either around the same time or later. You could leave it 2 months, 3 months, or whatever. With podcasts, usually like podcasts, it would be a pitch. So you would email the person and be like, I love your podcast. This is what I'm about. This is my area of expertise. I'd love to come on the podcast and chat to you about it. So I used to do it where any members could pitch to be on the podcast, but then it felt like a massive sense of responsibility to get back to everybody. So I closed it off. And the last time I opened it up, I just advertised it at Lucy Werner's Hype Yourself. So Lucy, because she has the PR membership, she'll do this like big document of different opportunities for people to pitch in. So I got a couple of people pitch in and I just said, yes, can you book in September? So that means I've got podcast content definitely coming in September. And then it helps me as a curator to know, okay, like if one goes out in September and one goes out in October, I might do a solo one in November and then I might maybe do one more guest one in December, but that's like the whole year sorted. So rather than me sit and think, who do I want to invite on the podcast? Who would be good? I did loads of that at the beginning, but now it's quite nice when people write to me. I'm like, oh, lovely, good, let's have a chat. So it's where people are at. There's definitely from my point of view, there's never been any like, oh, well, this person has got X number of subscribers. Like, I don't even look because of the 10 people telling 10 people rule that I always just feel like, well, if one person comes and subscribes and they love what I do and they tell 10 other people, that's gorgeous. But some people are hungry. Some people are like, I want to collab with people that have got big audiences and get my work in front of loads of big audiences. It's just kind of sussing it out, really, and working out what feels good. There's a couple of people that do regular guest slots. So Keris Fox interviews women about money and she's got a great followership. She's brilliant. And then she comes back to you after 2 years and asks you to do a follow-up. So I usually get quite a few people that want to come over. Keris has been growing our audience. It's new people that missed the first one, come on over. So I really like doing collaborations. I think they're really nice. And I think that you can do it in whichever way suits you and what you want to do and your energy. So lives for me, it's that like you've done it. Like you do the live, it's done. So it's an hour of your time. Sometimes when someone asks me to write for them, I'm like, oh, when am I going to do it? It's like I just get in my own head about it. So that takes me longer. I'll give myself a deadline. I'll be like, I can do it, but I can't do it till September. So you just have to kind of work with your own energy in it. Do you know your human design, Iris?
Yes, I'm a
What is it? A reflector, the rarest of all.
Yeah.
And the one I know least about, like I definitely don't know enough about it all, but maybe there's something in that human design that would help you to kind of know, okay, this is the way that I'm going to work with collabs. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, if am I hearing you right to actually not feel any sort of shame or whatever other word I could apply there to reach out to somebody, even if they're, well, not necessarily famous. It's not like I want to, reach out immediately to Elizabeth Gilbert to just, that's a name that pops up in my head. But it's
We could,
more,
I mean, we could, we
I
could.
could, I could, but it's
Mm.
more about people who have just a larger following. And I guess I tend
Mm.
to like make myself a little bit small next to them and think like what's in it for them. So am I
Mhm.
hearing you right that you say like just don't look at it. If you
Yeah,
genuinely feel a connection, write
yeah,
them. If they
yeah,
reply, they do. If they don't, well,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
nothing to lose,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And so because DMs exist on Substack, like DMs are great and fine, but I prefer getting the email because the email is like, oh, I've got a bit of time to look at this. I'll like flag it to read later. Whereas when I'm in my DMs, I'm quite often trying to like work through quite a few messages at once. So I do think email can be a lovely position, and then you could always follow it up with a DM and just say like just checking that you got my email. So Lucy would teach us to follow up always up to 3 times. I do not follow up. Like I absolutely couldn't hack following up with someone. I just don't do it. But I've done it for projects. So if I've had like a project press release and it's gone out and I haven't heard anything, I can do it that way, but I can't do it for myself. We've all got stuff to work on, haven't we? So I would say, pick 10, reach out to all 10. You could end up really busy. You'll definitely get one, you
See
know?
what happens, yeah. And then
Hmm.
one more question. You gave the example, I think, of Emma Gannon, who does ask for the pitches, and
Yeah,
then she will pay people
yeah,
for their contribution.
yeah.
Why does she do that? Like, I want to understand, why is that a model? Why is that interesting to her?
Because, well, she's journalist background, so that's partly why. And Farah's the same. Farah Storr's the same. And also, you're doing her a favor because she doesn't have to write that week. She can have a break from writing if somebody else has worked on a piece for her.
Okay.
And it serves our audience. So what you get is, if you think about how we read books, for example, and how Substack is such a new engine for culture. So we're hearing from people regularly. And if we've been subscribed to them for 2, 3 years, we might get a little bit of sort of fatigue of the same voice, right? And so then they bring in something and they mix it up. And it's like, oh, I'm leaning in again, you know? So
Mm.
Sarah Robertson guested for Emma, and it brought 350 new subscribers. But I would bet that they were really good fit subscribers, and I bet lots of them went on to work with her because of the positioning piece. So Sarah's a great writer, you know, so she wrote a really beautiful piece for Emma, but it was also worth our while because of the 350 new subscribers that were a really good fit as well. So yeah, definitely have a look. And then there's London Writers Salon. You can, you know, flex your writing muscles a bit and write for them. And they do it like a competition. So if you win the competition, you get paid. So it can be really interesting just to lean into and have a look. But have a look at Lucy's membership over at Hype Yourself because she is really helpful around this stuff. And then also, you know, if there is anything that crops up, like if you write something and you're like, is this enough information? And you're questioning it, just pop it in the Sparkle chat and we can have a little
Yeah.
chat about it and people will get back to you because I think we don't need to overcomplicate it. Like I had a dream list for my podcast in year one and everybody that I approached said yes. And I didn't have a big following at all. Like I just wanted to
Okay.
speak to people about Substack. That was the passion. And that met their passion because they also were passionate about Substack. And so it obviously in their minds didn't really matter how big my audience was.
No, no, that makes sense. And
Mm.
just to have an idea, because I have no idea whatsoever, what kind of amounts do we talk about when it's about doing a paid exchange? Is that
I
then
think it's
based
about
on
150. Um,
pounds?
Emma pays. I'm
Oh,
sure I've got that in my head somewhere about 150, £200 for an article.
okay,
Yeah, but everything else is built on reciprocity.
good.
You definitely don't need to like unless it was like paid advertising. So I just paid to advertise in Cody Cook Parrott's newsletter in the classified, which brought no new people over, but it was a very honest exchange of like I wanted to try advertising with somebody with a big list who was artsy and creative. It didn't work. So it's like that's what I was doing. It wasn't an article or anything. It was just like a little classified ad. So yeah, I think the only time really you would be paying is if it was set up as an advert and you were doing
Yeah.
it that way around. But everything else is just reciprocity and community building, networking, like feeling like there's
Yeah.
that point of connection.
I was hoping that, but I was wondering if the potential reaction could be if I reach out to somebody with a bigger following that they would go like, "Oh yes, and this will be my feed then." You
Mm.
know? I was
I've never
wondering,
known it happen. I mean, obviously, we could be surprised, but I've never known it happen that way around.
okay,
Other people might have, but I've heard some stories of when podcasts have got massive and then, hosts have demanded big fees, but not usually, not in general speaking. I think it's all just done on everybody like works it through.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you for encouraging me.
You're
I
welcome. You're
will
welcome. And
dare
just
to reach out.
enjoy it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes even like I've hopped on a Zoom with somebody, like there was definitely a point where I just wanted more colleagues that were passionate about Substack. And I ended up like on nice Zooms with people, like just chatting, and it wasn't for any other reason other than just having a nice chat. So there's all sorts of ways with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's finding this subtle balance between feeling well prepared enough so I'm
Hmm.
ready and I can offer also something to the people that I want to exchange with, and at the same time not overthink it. Like that's
Yeah,
my
just like
big
go with the
challenge.
getting that flow space with it, and just work on that little bio that you have about yourself and like what you do. You don't have to put your numbers or anything in a pitch. If somebody's really interested, obviously they'll click over, but usually you're doing the person a favor because it's a lot to run long-term Substack publications because you're committed to putting out articles and
Yeah.
things and exciting things for your audience. So you'd be doing someone a
That's
favor. Hmm.
that's a good reminder because I'm just starting out. I don't feel that yet, but
Yes,
it
uh-huh.
makes sense.
It's
Yeah.
coming.
Thank you so much,
Beautiful. Oh,
Claire.
you're welcome, Iris. You're welcome. And then Vicky, and then I think we'll wrap up. If you would like to share or ask. How are you doing,
Thank you
Vicky?
to
You
everyone.
all right?
I'm very sleepy. I had a very bad night, but the coffee is starting to. I was completely like
Oh,
dead man, a dead woman at 9:30, but I feel like I've perked
Oh,
up
well,
a bit.
thank you for coming. I know sometimes it can be a bit like, oh, but then other times it can be and like enthuse you, can't it, for your day when you kind of hang out with others.
Day of retreat sounds nice. This is a kind of tech. I'm getting a little bit in the weeds. Looking back at my homepage in light of the ones you've just hot seated, because I've been, as you know, I'm doing this launch in the middle of my sort of launch. I've been sending
Mm,
these messages only to email, but I think I can't then pin those, right? I want to change I guess the hero post. I changed it. I had an original one which was really good with my picture, and I think it said, "Who am I and why am I here?" or something. But
yeah.
that was from like months ago. I changed that when I changed the name of the whole Substack. But now that doesn't have my face on it or my name or anything. It just says meandering over the pebbles is now documental or something. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like when I first come to it, it's very inviting of me. Um, but then I thought, well, I should have something of the film thread, right? Because that's what I'm doing at the moment. But I don't think I can pin the welcome to the film thread is a page. I couldn't seem to pin that.
No, you
And then the
can't pin pages. No.
messages I've been sending out email only, I can't pin those either, right? The kind of launch ones. Like I've sent them out saying, it's live, this is what it's going to be. Why am I setting up? I've written all these things. But now I can't pin any of those to my page, I don't
Mm,
think.
no.
So
You can copy and paste them though. So you can copy from your dashboard and paste them into a
yeah.
post and then just post them without emailing them out. Just make sure you uncheck that
How,
button before.
I wanted to ask you, how do I do that? Because when I'm in a post, when I've written something, I
Mm.
think doesn't it give you the option just says send out by post and email or
So
schedule for later, I
you
think.
just do it
How,
like this, and then
yeah.
you just uncheck that. And then
Oh,
when you
okay.
uncheck that, it says publish now. So you're not sending it anywhere. You're just publishing it. Whereas obviously if you want to deliver it, you're going to send it. See? Very subtle, but yeah, that's
When
what I
that
would do.
that comes up, that will be in your archive. So if somebody clicks on archive, it's there.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
would
yeah.
then appear here straight away,
Oh,
and then
right.
you can obviously do everything that you would want to do
Oh
with
God, that's
that.
so simple. I should have asked you this.
Yeah,
No, you
no,
don't.
it's
Don't
fine. You
know.
don't know what you don't know, do you? And
Yeah.
you get
Well,
so
I knew I
used to
didn't
just
know how to do
flying
it.
through it. Mm.
Lots of times I've heard you say just publish it as a post, and I thought that the only way I thought
Me just saying things and expecting everybody to know.
thought that it was to a
Sorry.
custom page, which is what I've done. But then I was like, but this
Yeah.
custom page thing's not what that. And I think I did ask you about that as well. But maybe this is the same question. So
Mm.
this custom page I've done, welcome to the film thread. I noticed I was looking at other lovely memberships like Laura and Barbara Lindsay Calder that you've mentioned, and they've got so I've got the title there, welcome to the film thread, but in the navigation bar, I'd like it to just say something like members space the film or film thread members club or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can change that the wording that's in the navigation bar unless I change the title of that post because that's a page.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do a just write another one and put that into the archive. I'm not
No, you
sure.
don't need to. So here's when you type page into settings, and then you would go here and then edit. So obviously, whatever you have here is going to pull
Yeah,
through, but then you would
yeah,
just
but that's my
obviously,
question. I can't change. I can't have different words there and in the navigation bar. Whatever is written there
no,
is what will be in the navigation.
no, apparently
Right.
not. But yeah, I think that you would just then have to have whatever you wanted it to for them to click on, and then under that
Yeah, I
you
can
put
just put that
welcome
there.
to, yeah,
Yeah,
underneath.
yeah.
And then because you can change tags. Yeah, you can change tags, but not. See how
Okay.
that's still books,
That's
but
all right. I can just
I've
change the
called
thing
it
in
books
navigation,
one. Yeah. So I
can't
think
I?
that's how you'd have to do it, yeah.
You get so in the weeds with all of this stuff, don't you?
You do. And then you just got to zoom out a bit because I would say to you, it's already gone, documental. So we're not
No,
going,
exactly.
we've
That's got
gone.
to
We've
go.
gone
That's no,
now. We're done. So you can update this and
I know that's
say, welcome
it's
to
on my list.
documental.
Oh, just
Yeah.
check. Oh, yeah, I guess I can just
Yeah.
change it. But I want to have my picture there right now because
Yeah.
that's much more
Welcome
well.
to documental. Take that a new name for a new chapter. And then just put some sort of other invite in and then put your photo there. And then if you've got that photo in here, then they'll still see that. Yeah, so that's gorgeous.
Or I could just write a brand new page, right, and just do that. What you've just shown me how to do, just publish it to the archive without sending it. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
want another one to everyone saying who I am because they're getting quite a lot of
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah,
They
you
know.
could just post it. I tend to just edit the hero post every time because I'm always keeping an eye on the stats and like what happens with the stats. So it kind of goes cumulative.
Yeah.
So I would just edit this
I don't
same
think that
thing.
it really is a hero post. Really, this was just a kind of explaining that I've changed the name.
Okay,
So
love. Yeah. So then you could just write a fresh hero post if that feels
yeah.
good. And let that one be unpinned and go into the archive or take it down, whatever you want to do. Um, if you're brave enough as well, it is great to have a video here, front and center. So
Got some of my recent. I've got the. I did a live like on my own when it was the anniversary of my premiere. So I've got that one, and I've got the chat I did with talking about collaborations. I did this chat with Keris.
yeah, lovely Keris. Yeah.
So,
So Keris is one of the ones that I've mentioned that accepts all of the collab posts. She's great. Ladybird Purse. Yeah, there
but yeah,
she
I did
is.
wonder about pinning one of those. Well, probably not the one with Keris. That might be a bit odd, but maybe the one just with me. In the meantime, until I've written something new. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Just a temporary one. I sometimes as well like look at what's been the most popular, to try and make a decision if I want to
Yeah.
kind of put something there. So you could
Also,
have a
the one
look
with
at that.
doing the film, but that doesn't have my face on it. But I guess I could just, like you say, I could just edit that and put my face on it.
Yeah, you would just edit that.
Yeah.
This is really popular, isn't it? Like this is 30 likes and 33 comments. So, well, yeah, if you've got this on your list this week and you don't want to feel rushed, I would pin that one. Just pin
Yeah.
that one, but change that photo.
Yeah.
Because then you just feel like your shop's open. It's a lot of this stuff is energetic. It's like, oh, we've transitioned. It's like, no, we're done now. Come on, next phase. And like it's just working it through, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
otherwise it's like, oh, well, I could, but I've got this to do and that to do and that the other
But
to
I've
do.
not
And
been looking at
actually,
this home page very much because I've
mm,
been out writing emails and things to send
yeah,
back to it. You're like, yeah, it doesn't look very like you don't
yeah.
if you're brand new, I don't think at the
And
moment.
it's also in if someone's having an app-based experience, they
Yeah.
still see the posts that you've pinned if you've
Yeah.
pinned multiple posts. So it is helpful to have a pinned one. Yeah. Yeah.
Fab. Oh,
Good.
just knowing how to post without sending it to email. What a win for my morning.
Such a win, I know. And then you've got this
This
lovely
week.
invite.
Yeah.
Subscribe for more writing about work, life, and films, or upgrade to join my monthly film club. I would say you could try and get monthly film club in somewhere in
That's what I
this
was
as
thinking at the
well.
moment is
Yeah.
getting one of the things I've sent out via email, but I could just do something similar to that and just publish it and then pin that, couldn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. And people are excited about your film club. Like film buffs will be like, this is amazing. Like I don't see that sort of stuff on Substack, so I think it's really good. And I think as you're treating it like a launch, a relaunch, be thinking about who you want to shout about it. If you've built up some nice
Yeah.
relationships, say to them, can you share this? I've just made my new hero post. Would you mind sharing it for me in notes and just get that momentum going a little bit for yourself? Because it is exciting. You're not bothering people. People that love film are going to be like, this is amazing. Vicky's so inspiring. She spent 10 years working on a film. That's so cool. And now
I'm
I can
doing
watch
it,
it
but
on
it's just
Netflix and Disney Plus.
been going for my subscribers. I'm like, I need to get that energy I've been putting into sending to the people who are on my list. I know I need to get that into notes and probably on
Yeah. And it's
what I've
just
got
that
as
shop
well.
open sign. Just always be looking at it being like, does my shop look open and inviting? Just, because we are terrible. Like when I was chatting to Antonia earlier, she was like, oh, like she works in branding. It's
Yeah.
just what we do. We're like, oh, we'll just keep it all over here. It's like, no, guys, we need the shop open. So Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you so much for being here. I'll post the replay, and then if you're coming at 2 o'clock with Shay, that's going to be about value and positioning. She's American. I met her on a mastermind, and she's wonderful. I'm really excited to just be a participant in that. So I'll see you at 2 if you come in. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. Bye.